Enter the eerie realm of the Mothman with us, explore chilling eyewitness accounts, navigate through legends, and unravel the mysteries of this winged phenomenon in Point Pleasant. Join us for a journey into the heart of the unknown. Ready to confront the wings of mystery? Tonight on Newsworthy, 2 words, 2 question marks.
He's alive!
Have you checked the children?
Get out!
You have scoured the podcast world and finally found us, Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry, where we delve into all things mysterious, macabre, or out of this world, and decide if they are truly newsworthy. 2 words and 2 question marks.
Why should you work with Ed Locke? A better question is, why wouldn't you work with him? He is proud to support an amazing lender, USA Mortgage.
When you work with them, you can expect a home financing experience that is free of hassles and headaches. They have complete control over your loan due to in-house operations such as processing, underwriting, closing, and funding.
USA Mortgage represents a lot of fantastic things, but they are especially thrilled to partner in several community outreach programs, including Habitat for Humanity, Home Sweet Home, Veterans Community Project, and many, many more. They love going to work every day, which means they love working for you. Ed wants to be your lender for life, so reach out to him today and get the journey started.
If you would like more information, please reach out to Ed Locke at area code 502-680-0953, NMLS 448908, USA Mortgage NMLS 227262. USA Mortgage is an equal housing lender. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions may apply. For licensing information, go to www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
Hello, gentlemen. Happy
Hello.
early Wednesday.
Oh yeah, hey, I tell you what,
What?
my back is looking so much prettier.
Oh, man, look at this hair that he's got braided, Jay. Look at that.
Telling you.
I've never seen such greatly braided back hair in
It
my
was
whole
wonderful.
life.
I was, after listening to that episode last week, I was really regretting not rescheduling, but I think after looking at it in the mirror, it was definitely.
Yeah, they did a good job. I'm really shocked that someone has that much back hair that's not been like considered Yeti at some point.
Yeah, the Bigfoot that you all hear about, that's actually me. So. No, I wish I had back hair.
Wow, that's crazy.
A few days before Christmas, you guys ready?
Oh yeah. Well,
Getting there.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm going to put it out there for real quick, if you don't care, just a second.
Sure, go ahead.
If you're listening to this, we're going to release this episode Wednesday. It's actually Tuesday. Tomorrow I have to have, hopefully, my final surgery to get rid of this cancer. F cancer, okay, first of all.
Big time.
Let me just put it out there that way. And how do I say this? So, like, if you've ever had or develop in the future cancer, and it seems like I never dealt with it much until I had it, and now everybody I know has it, and it's like weird, and I hate it. Everybody's experience, even if they have the same cancer that you have, is different. We went to this thing, and I don't want to get too into it, but I listened for 20 minutes while this lady told me about how non-bad my cancer is. And I agree. As far as cancer goes, I'm very blessed. I have one of the most curable kinds that you could possibly get, okay? I'm aware of this. But that doesn't diminish my fight with it. Just because
Absolutely.
she thinks it's this.
Yeah.
It doesn't diminish how I believe. And, fortunately for her, she had a very small, she didn't have, it hadn't spread like it has with me. And, and I'm not trying to say, oh, mine's worse than hers. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just.
It's still cancer. Like,
just think before you speak.
Yeah.
Because everybody deals with. I'm a very positive person, so it didn't really affect me that much. Okay, I regardless of what happens, I know I've got this and God's got me. Right. So even if the worst case scenario, I'm okay. But everybody deals with that differently. And if you don't know that person very well, you're not sure how they're going to react to that. And I can speak from from the other side of it now that I just wanted that woman to shut up.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Granted, she was just trying to be empathetic. She really didn't know what to say.
And positive. She's probably trying to.
But everybody's struggle is different with this disease, even if you have the same kind of disease.
Well, and like you said, when you first just hearing the C word.
Yeah.
In any context, no matter if it's a curable cancer, an uncurable cancer, you spread your type.
The surgery's still real. Recovery still sucks.
Right.
Radiation still blows.
Right. It's not something to take lightly in any circumstance whatsoever.
So I just want to, and I don't mean to take over the whole podcast with that.
No.
But it just needs to be said. People who are survivors or dealing with cancer. It took my ex-father-in-law last week. I've got close family members that are fighting much worse type cancers than I have. I've got good friends that I love dearly that are getting ready to take ungodly amounts of chemotherapy over the next, and are going to miss 2 months of work. So I'm not saying don't have empathy and don't care for these people, but just please mind your words.
Yeah.
Because you may have experienced something or feel a certain way towards something doesn't mean that their psyche and where they're at in their battle can handle what you're about to say, if that makes sense.
It does. Absolutely.
But ultimately, I just want to take that minute and say F cancer.
Something you said a minute ago about God's Got Me reminded me. Have you ever heard, there's a gospel song called I'm a Winner Either Way. Have you ever heard the song?
I have.
I love
Beautiful.
It.
Beautiful song.
If I stay or if I go, I'm a winner either way.
Right. So anyway, now back to what we're talking. Man, we got a fun topic today. But Brett, you'll be so proud of me, Brett. So proud. Because I've been doing something and learning about something that you find very amazing. You and my son Joshua, both.
Bring him back here?
Huh?
Oh, man.
Math, dude. Now, see, I can tolerate algebra. Maybe even a little calculus. Used to do that when I drove the truck.
Oh, yeah.
But graphing, that's where I draw the line.
Oh,
Really? Nice.
Well, speaking of, you said he'd be proud of you. I think hopefully both of you would be proud of me.
Oh, did you grow some more fruit, Jerry?
just the two.
Oh, okay.
That's all it takes for a pair, right?
Right.
But I did just finish a book that I've been working on.
Oh, really?
I wrote a book on penguins.
Oh.
Although, come to think of it, paper would have been a far better choice.
Oh, my God.
But I was hoping you guys would just be proud of the fact I finished the book.
Yeah.
I'm broke.
This week was a pretty big week. So, first time ever, I got to ride in a Tesla.
Nice.
Oh.
Luxury. Let me tell you. Luxury. But one thing I was kind of disappointed at, Teslas don't have the new car smell.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have an Elon Musk.
Oh,
Gosh.
I don't know why I smell that one.
Oh, wow. I thought mine was bad. That was bad.
Maybe I should have went with the other one. I don't know. Oh, man.
I thought it was a perfect dad joke.
Topic.
A little bit different.
Little different for sure. One thing we don't cover, this is going to be one that we may end up revisiting next September, right?
Could be.
I kind of hope so at this point.
Because this is so close to home that we almost have to
What is it?
revisit
Was it like 3-hour drive?
It's only a 3-hour drive.
Not far.
And as soon as spring comes, I'm going to go up on my bike and just scope it out and see.
Oh, yeah?
Because it'll be a fun ride on my bike.
Well, I think we'll tease them enough. Let's at least tell them.
Just
Tonight?
Don't watch Wrong Turn before you do that.
Tonight we're going to talk about the Mothman of West Virginia.
That's right. From Point Pleasant, West Virginia, the border between the Ohio River separates Ohio from West Virginia. Yeah, it's not that far from us at all.
Yeah, and so Mothman is a crazy cryptid. Most accounts 6, 7, 8 feet tall, big, huge wings, boiling red eyes, about as scary as you can possibly get. If it had braided back hair, we would just attribute that to Brett. But,
Let me interrupt for 1 second.
Sure.
If there is people out there like Brett and I who, before Steve suggested this, had never heard of Mothman, and neither of us had heard of cryptids, there may be other people out there that don't know what they are.
Sure.
A cryptid is a creature or animal that is said to exist in the wild, but whose existence is disputed or unsubstantiated by science. So, yeah, there is no absolute proof, which is what I was getting to earlier. But at least now you know what the word means that we brought up a few times. That's
Absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt.
And that would encompass Bigfoot, Yeti, Mothman, Nessie, Chupacabra, the swamp guy down in New Orleans, whatever his name was, I forget. But yeah, anything of any size that is of intelligence.
We'll get to that in a second. When you was talking about the cryptids, I went to Wikipedia has an article and a list of cryptids.
Oh, yeah, please.
I
That'd be
was
fun.
hoping they would number it, but they don't. But yeah, it's a long list. I'm down at the end. Let's go back up. Yowie, Yeti, urine, skunk ape, orang pendek, honey island swamp monster, gray alien. I wouldn't have thought that would have been a cryptid, but yeah, they're throwing aliens. Yeah, guys, the list goes on and on. Cryptids are there's a long list of those. What'd you find so funny?
Nothing.
Hello.
All right, so with the cryptids, I guess they're always humanoid in some form or fashion.
I don't think, no, absolutely not. Nessie certainly is.
Oh, I guess, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Absolutely does not
Yeah, you're right.
have to be at all. But yeah, the Mothman, a humanoid creature that first was seen in the 1967 in the Point Pleasant, West Virginia area between November 15th of 1966 and December 15th of 1967. The first newspaper report that was published came out dated November 16th, 1966, and it was titled, and I quote, "Couples, plural, couples, see man-sized bird, ... creature, ... something," end quote. So originally they were saying it was man-sized. They were saying it was a animal of some sort, a bird, a creature. Again, bird, creature, or something. Now, the national press was quickly picking up these reports, and the story rapidly spread across the United States. And it wasn't until the 70s when it began to get an even larger audience, and that was when a couple of books that I think Brett's going to talk about a little bit later on came out. But yeah, on November 15th, 1966, there were two young couples in a car, double date, maybe young, what were they, 18, 19, 20, somewhere around there, I think.
Right, yeah.
Two young couples. And they told police that they'd saw a large black creature with glowing red eyes. That's where this basically started from. Large black creature with eyes glowing red standing at the side of the road. The name is sort of an enigma. We don't really know where it come from. At the time, Batman was a very popular TV series. Now, the villain Killer Moth, was never on the show, but he did appear in the comic book series, and many believe that this influenced the media to come up with the term Mothman that was used for this creature. He got pretty famous when a bridge that separated Point Pleasant, West Virginia from Ohio, the Silver Bridge, it was an I-bar chain suspension bridge. It was built in 1928, and it was the bridge that carried the U.S. Route 35 over the Ohio River and connected the two cities. On December 15th of 1967, it collapsed amid rush hour traffic, resulted in the deaths of 46 people, and somehow or another, poor Mr. Mothman got blamed for that. He got blamed for the destruction of the bridge and the death of 46 people. Yes, Steve.
Oh, just keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I've got a little more to add to it before at the end. Brett,
Yeah.
take over and tell us what you got.
So, just talking about those books that came out. So, in my research, the first one that really stood out was in 1970. Gray Barker, who was known for other books, on UFOs and other conspiracy theories, wrote, "Evidence indicates that he was skeptical of most UFO claims and mainly wrote about paranormal events for financial gain." So, this guy was very much discredited later on in his life. And while this book definitely increased the enthusiasm and the following of Mothman, it doesn't seem like it's something that is very credible.
You said he was discredited. How so?
So I got that source from Wikipedia, and they referenced the Skeptical Inquirer, and it specifically the May-June 2002 issue of that, where the journalist John C. Sherwood, who is a business associate of researcher Gray Barker, published an analysis of the private letters between John Keel, who I hadn't mentioned yet, and Barker during a period of Keel's investigation where, so in 1975, John Keel wrote the Mothman Prophecies, which is probably the most famous book on the Mothman, which basically combined the accounts of the Mothman sightings with John Keel's theories on UFOs. So, basically, he had basically said that the Mothman was some sort of holographic rendering done by UFOs. And like I said, after the issue of the Skeptical Inquirer, it seems like both Gray Barker and John Keel have been somewhat discredited. So it's hard to take what they say to be truth. I will say John Keel, his book did lead to a movie that was made in 2002 called The Mothman Prophecies, which was the same name as the book, starring Richard Gere. Sorry. And, it had some sort of cult following, but nothing more than that. It was very loosely based on the book.
So, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, what was you going to do?
Ask if you need the charger.
Oh. No, not yet.
Good old laptops.
Yeah, man, we're bouncing around here tonight. We're trying to figure it out. So, according to the book,
Yeah.
everything's fabricated. What about the 4 eyewitness accounts of the 4 couples?
Yeah, so that's something I definitely wanted to get into. So we got Roger Scarberry, Linda Scarberry, Steve Mallet, and Mary Mallet. So obviously Roger and Linda are married. Steve and Mary were married at the time. So it honestly, in my research, I'm not sure if anybody else was able to find anything else in their research, but Linda was definitely the most. She definitely had the most information about her versus the rest of the group, and that was mostly due to the fact that she was the only one willing to interview. All the other 3 were not willing to interview after this incident. So Roger was 18 at the time of the incident. Linda was 19 at the time of the incident. All four of them attended Point Pleasant High School with each other, which is how they became friends. And it is said that Roger and Linda had many conversations with the author John Keel that led to his book, The Mothman Prophecy. So a couple of descriptions that Linda had said about the Mothman was she described the creature as slender, muscular man, about 7 feet tall, with white wings, and said that she was unable to discern its face due to the hypnotic effect of its eyes. The couple, so Roger and Linda, they were said to experience a lot of strange occurrences and poltergeist activity throughout 1966 and 1967.
Wait a minute. They say that one again now?
Yeah, right. So Linda and Roger
Easy for you to say.
Right. Had said that they had seen other strange occurrences and poltergeist activity throughout 1966 and 1967. And yes, we got to get to that at the end maybe, but so they have seen other strange and weird images. Linda claimed to have seen this creature, the Mothman, many times, including once on the roof. But she had said that she had thought the creature was just there to communicate. She didn't ever feel in any sort of danger. Actually, in September 12th, 2001, there was a documentary called Search for the Mothman, and they interviewed Linda on location. They were able to get her for 10 minutes, but she had to stop because she became so overwhelmed by fear to go any further in the interview. So at that point, her ex-husband Roger and the Mallets refused to be interviewed. So again, Linda was really the only one that ever had interviewed talking about this incident after the fact. And Linda actually died in 2011. One thing that Jerry didn't cover that I thought was pretty interesting and was covered by multiple sources was this character in the story called Bandit. And Bandit was not human. He was a German Shepherd. And this German Shepherd Bandit, he belonged to Newell Partridge in Salem, West Virginia. This account was chronicled in John Keel's book, The Mothman Prophecies. And it basically said, basically this dog Bandit had gone into the woods after 2 glowing red circles. Partridge said he looked for Bandit but found nothing but paw prints going in a circle that then vanished. So this was something that even the Smithsonian had quoted as a credible story. A couple other characters in this, such as the sheriff of Mason County, George Johnson. So he believed that the sightings were due to
himself. I don't even know why.
Oh, man.
So one of the things that we've talked about on this show many times is the attraction of UFOs to our nuclear weapons and nuclear sites. Guess what happens to be right up the street from Springfield, West Virginia?
Roswell.
No.
You said yes.
Okay, well, you were wrong. And congratulations. So, just right up the road, one of the only radioactive fracking waste cleanup factories is right up the road. And this place is now shuttered. It was a nightmare. It was.
I guess we talked about this a little bit before the show, but I guess that place still exists.
It does still exist, and it's just sitting there doing nothing. It's considered West Virginia's Chernobyl. It was that bad. It was that badly constructed. It was that badly ran, and that's why it's no longer operational.
Does it still contain nuclear waste?
It is not, but it is still radioactive.
Right. Because,
And here's the thing. If you live in Pittsburgh, this should concern you because this is right upriver from your water sources. just pointing it out there,
Good luck, Pittsburgh.
Maybe.
Now we know what's wrong with the Steelers.
Oh, my gosh. He went there. There's a lot of Steelers fans that listen.
Sorry, buddy.
I like the Steelers. Anyway, but let's take it back a few hundred years earlier, shall we? Let's talk about Chief Cornstalk. There Jerry goes. He's gone. So Chief Cornstalk was a chief of the what is?
I'm sorry, what?
How do you do that? How do you go
Do
from
what?
being completely broken to? I'm sorry, what? I can't do that. I can't make that transition like you
I
did.
have no idea what you're referring to. No.
So Chief Cornstalk was the chief of a Minkoochi. There we go.
There you go.
Tribe, and that was a Shawnee. That was part of the Shawnee group of Indians, and they were at war with the colonials at the time. And we're talking. He lived back in 1777, back in this time, and he fought the colonials to a draw. The Chief Cornstalk and the leader / mayor of the town at the time earned each other's respect. They actually became decent friends over time. Fast forward just a little while, the British tried to recruit the Shawnee against the colonials. Chief Cornstalk came to the mayor and said, "Hey, look, this is what's going on. The English just tried to recruit us to attack you. There was a lot of bad blood still within the town. They arrested the chief and his son and 2 other braves. And before the mayor could stop them, people hung him and his son. And before he died, he said, I came here as your friend and you're killing me, basically. And with my son, we cursed this land for 200 years. So way back then, we have a curse on this particular area. Fast forward, he was created and housed for World War II.
Yeah.
So lots going on in this little bitty area that you have nuclear waste, you have TNT waste and disposal, you have a curse. All of that could equal the Mothman. I'm just saying.
Now here's so one thing that I will go against this story is that, so again, Linda Scarberry was again the most
Descriptive
source of this entire incident, and she said that she was not scared of this Mothman. She did not think that.
She kind of tried to ride the fence, but because later on, remember, a few years later, she was scared to talk more than 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. It's a
Were
weird.
you scared or not?
It's a weird. Yeah.
At the time, she also said that they were in their car when they first saw it and tried to get out of there and were scared then.
Right. It's a weird thing where she's saying that, oh well, the Mothman's just trying to communicate, but also like she's scared to talk of it, and the other 3 are not one to talk about it at all. So it's a very weird scenario, and where you say the 200 years, it seems like in this area the Mothman appearances stopped in 1967 when the Silver Bridge collapsed.
Right.
So, and when did you say that year was? Was it 1777?
1777. That's when.
So that would have been another 10 years after this.
Yep. Also, just wanted to point it out that no one in West Virginia believed Mothman collapsed the bridge. They believed that was he was warning against the bridge collapse.
Gotcha.
That was the ultimate thought.
I thought I'd read that he was actually blamed for the 46 deaths. So I thought they thought he had contributed.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we talked about that, right? The 46 deaths.
Yeah, I briefly mentioned it. Yeah.
Also, there are rumors, and I'm using air quotes here, because we have no actual proof of this, but that Mothman was seen around the Twin Towers and not before 9/11. There are rumors currently that Mothman is hanging out around the O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Let's pray nothing happens in Chicago. But same and similar to what your witness has said, people hear communication, chirps, hums, things of an insect type.
Right. I can't remember the way they described what they heard, but yeah, they described hearing some sort of noise.
You know what I'll think about when I hear them try to describe it, and because we're Star Wars geeks, we'll get it. To me, it sounds like how the Geonosians would speak. That's what I hear when I hear her trying to make those descriptions.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Made a screeching sound. They said the creature flew after their car, making a screeching sound.
Yeah. And no matter in the what was it, Chief Cornstalk?
Cornstalk.
He adds something to the story for sure. I think the biggest argument for the story is that 4 different people claim to see the exact same thing at the same time. And 3 of them did not want anything to do with the story after the fact.
Even before those 4 in the car, those 2 couples saw, there was other reports of Mothman in the area.
The story of Bandit was before that.
And all of those people drew or sketched similar sightings. So could this have been a huge, like, eagle or condor? Maybe.
Yeah.
California condor's got a wingspan of like 9.5 feet. Huge birds. Is it a Mothman, though?
Yeah. Like I said, this wildlife biologist said the Sandhill crane was... I want everybody listening to look up the Sandhill crane.
We'll put a link to a picture on the episode.
If that looks like the Mothman that's described, it doesn't look like anything like the Mothman.
No.
I think that the max height is like 4.5 feet. So it's not a 7 to 8 foot being by any means.
A few days after the initial sighting, 2 volunteer firemen also saw something that they described as a large bird with red eyes.
Yep, on a roof.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that. I read that report. Also, in this area, around this specific time, did the name Indrid Cold come up in either of your research?
No.
Not at all.
But we didn't go to the site you went to.
So, around this time, and again, this is the same area. If you have one person seeing something, that could be described 100 different ways. Right? If you have 6 people or 8 people, as we do right now, that have all seen the same thing and sketched it out, then we have something that's not so coincidental anymore. Just the simple fact we have so many weird and bizarre things going on in this particular area leads me to believe that there's something. And the name and the legend of Indrid Cold just adds to that. So I just want to say, I don't think we can cover Mothman without covering Indrid Cold. Same time frame. Same area. Completely different circumstance. Here's what I mean. Woodrow Darren Berger made his living selling, and this is coming from Historic Mysteries. Woodrow Darren Berger made his living selling sewing machines. November 2nd, 1966 was a long day for him. By 7 o'clock, he was driving along a hill just outside Parkersburg on Interstate 77 and was looking forward to going home. Cold, wet evening. He's driving down the road. Let's see. I'm going to skip a lot of this for time's sake. But basically, he had just enough room in his car to drive. He's driving. Up ahead, he sees what he thinks is a patrol car and a sobriety test. As much as I hate these things, and Jerry thinks that we disagree on that, but they happen. He quickly dismissed the conclusion when he realized what he was looking at wasn't a car at all. Whatever this was shaped like an old-fashioned kerosene lamp with a central bulge and flared edges. However, this thing was the size of a car, and it was sitting on the side of the road, like in the road. The door slid open, the man exited, and according to Darren Berger, this man was average in many ways. He had a deep tan, dark hair, swept back, and it was unusual that he had such a deep tan for this particular time of the year. The thing that struck him most was that Indrid Cold had an extraordinarily broad grin. By far, it was the most striking thing on his entire appearance. Basically, he said that he came from a place that was less powerful than the United States. And he went on down and he had a conversation. And the thing is that struck Behringer most is the guy didn't actually speak. He talked to him telepathically. Both he, Indrid Cold, and the vehicle departed. And he went away. 6 more people within the next year had the same run-in in the same general area with Indrid Cold. Same type situation as with Mr. Mothman. Anyway, we'll cover Indrid Cold in a whole nother episode.
The Grinning Man.
The Grinning Man. So, just something else in this particular area that just makes you say,
Apparently, they had some pretty good psychedelic drugs in this area.
or what the hell?
Either one, take your pick.
Take your pick. So,
This is the 60s we're talking about.
Yep,
the late 60s at that.
absolutely.
So, what do you think about the Mothman? Now that we've kind of covered some of the facts,
Yeah.
we've seen some of the pictures.
This is newsworthy. Is this?
We ain't got there
before that.
yet. Just what do you think? We haven't got to the
Okay.
question.
Okay.
We
All
got
right.
we got a few minutes. I'm just
Here's what I think.
all right.
I think, what does an area do when you've got this humanoid creature that's scaring the hell out of the public? Many believe caused a bridge to fall that killed 40 people. Well, in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, what you do is you have a Mothman Festival every
Yes.
year, annual event for 20-something years. It started in 2002.
What did you say the population was?
4,000 of the town.
Right. What? Why would you not?
Why would you not?
Why would you not?
I agree. No. The Mothman Festival is held every third weekend in September. They claim that people from all over the world gather to celebrate their favorite cryptid. So they've tried to market it as not only a celebration of Mothman, but all cryptids. So you're welcome to come and celebrate whatever your favorite cryptid is.
I think if you come in 2024, you come and you stop by the newsworthy.
If you do, September 21st, September 22nd, 2024 is when it's
Is
going
it
to
a
be going
2-day
on.
event?
2-day event.
Okay.
A town of 4,000 people
Can't wait.
draws approximately 25,000 people.
25,000 people.
In 2022, it generated over $2 million in revenue. They do this by having merchandise from various vendors, live bands, guest speakers, cosplay, and many attraction and events. Don't forget, while you're there, to tour the Mothman Museum while you're in town. It is the only Mothman museum in the entire world. Make sure that you have your picture taken with the famous Mothman statue that sits adjacent to the museum.
Wow.
So, what do I think? I agree with Brett. Somebody said, you know what? We could probably make some money on this.
And
why would you not?
I agree. Why would you not?
And that's the thing. It's like, just because they want to make money off it doesn't.
No.
It's not a discredit to the story.
Agree. I don't take that as me saying that he was.
And, you know, we talked about this before the show. Patreon, again, we're coming for you. But
Who knows?
here's the thing for me is 4 people saw the same thing at the same time.
And 4 people before them
And with
saw
the-
it at different times and had the exact same description.
No, not exact same.
Similar enough.
When you get the story of, Bandit the dog, and that's a story that the Smithsonian put out. I mean, it's a credible story. It's tough. It's a tough one for me because I'm on the fence. I really am on the fence with this because
I think there was something there. I don't know what.
Like we said before, there's truth to every story.
Sure.
Every story has some truth to it, and I don't know what that truth is.
Well,
I don't think it's some sort of heron or some sort of bird. I don't think that. I really don't. Yeah, this is a tough one. It's a tough one for me. I don't know.
I just want to point out that very recently, we talked about the radioactive area that is near here. In Chernobyl, there are dogs now that their DNA has been altered already by the radiation that they've encountered. They're thriving though.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
And there are fish in the water that have obviously had their DNA altered, but they're thriving.
This would be a good episode to do. I really don't. I didn't know about this.
It's insane the way life. In Jurassic Park, Jeff Goldblum's character said it brilliantly. Life will find a way.
Right.
Regardless of what we try to do, life's going to find a way. So I agree with Jerry. They saw something. And there's all these other things that are contributing to it. Was it a 8-foot moth? I don't know. Who am I to say? If you hear my story, then how am I going to argue against what this lady said she saw?
But keep in mind, she didn't say that it was a moth.
No.
The media did that later.
Right.
The newspaper the next morning tried to sum up what they had said. And again, the title of the newspaper was this: couple see man-sized bird, ... creature, ... something.
There's some.
You can't argue with that.
I like the
Right. Some humanoid with wings.
It was
basically.
something.
And-
that I cannot argue with that at all. She saw something, didn't know what it was.
If you believe in the Bible, how many pictures of angels or demons have you seen with that are humanoid with wings? I mean, I'm not trying to get religion into this, but I mean, it's not. I'm not of the mindset of just discounting this entirely.
Oh, I agree. All right. So, Jerry, is this more or less? Does this need more or less coverage? Thumbs up, thumbs down for
I
you,
think
Jerry.
we've done a pretty good job covering it. I don't know that it actually needs more. I'd say thumbs down.
Thumbs down, Brett.
Man, this is a tough one. This is a tough one for me.
Here, let me go first then.
Yeah,
and
you
then
go
you
first.
You can piggyback on what I say because this
Yeah.
means something in the future.
Yeah.
I think for the sake of us going live on location to Point Pleasant at the next Mothman Festival, I'm going to give it a thumbs up just so we have a reason to go and check it out.
I will say this. It has given me enough reason to want to go to this festival.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with that.
Because it's
Also
it's a tough one. This is not like the what was that General or Colonel Corso? This is not the same as this. Because these four people did not get any financial gain from this.
Right. In fact, they were afraid it was going to ruin their lives.
Yeah, they didn't want to talk about it. And that's what is keeping me like, maybe there was something to this. I think, like I said, I think there's truth to every story. I'm gonna give it a 3/4 thumbs up. I'm gonna give it a 3/4 thumbs
I
up.
want to qualify my previous answer. This particular story, I'm saying thumbs down to. The festival, I'm saying thumbs up to because it is for all cryptids, not just the Mothman.
Yeah, I think
that
it'll be a
alone
blast.
gives
I think
us
it'll be
reason to.
I think that'll be a hoot.
Yeah, I
for
think
us
it's
to
gonna be
go.
awesome. Yeah.
So, anywho, well, guys, there you have it. We've covered the Mothman. Did we forget something? Did we not cover something you want? We brought up Ingrid, the Grinning Man, Mr. Ingrid Cold. We're going to bring him up later in a different episode, I'm sure. But send us an email to where, Jerry?
Newsworthy with StephenJerry@gmail.com.
Man, that episode is really interesting. And if you'll stick around for us for just a few commercials, we have another great story to tell you.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
If you want us to review or rate your product on air, if you have suggestions for new episodes, awesome ghost stories, or anything else, please reach out to us. Our email address is newsworthywithsteveandjerry@gmail.com. Our text number is area code 540-709-1318.
And now, back to the story. Some researchers believe that an archaeological site unearthed in Tennessee may have been created by ancient Egyptians. The story of Tennessee's Egyptian temple revolves around a British biblical scholar and curator, J. Rendell Harris, who believed that the Egyptians visited America before Columbus. He speculated that Egyptians initially visited the Bahamas and eventually moved up the Gulf of Mexico and up the Mississippi and established a large colony in eastern Tennessee. Harris saw a photo in a newspaper article about an excavated site in Tennessee that he believed was an Egyptian temple due to the standing stones forming the perimeter of a square building. The story has been embellished and made mysterious, with some internet sources claiming a cover-up of ancient Egyptians in America, and that the excavation was halted when the temple was found. In 1933, the Tennessee Valley Authority, or TVA, organized a conference with university representatives and the government agencies to plan a survey of Native American sites that would be submerged after the completion of the Norris Dam. The project was conducted by Civil Works Administration and the Federal Emergency Relief Administration funds, and was supervised by William Webb, the chairman of the University of Kentucky's Department of Anthropology and Archaeology. Excavation work was carried out by students under the guidance of supervisors, and the project identified 23 different sites, 29 different mounds, including 12 burial mounds, 17 mounds with prehistoric structures, and the report on the project was submitted and published by the Smithsonian as Anthology Bulletin 118. It contained many photos of the excavations, artifacts, and even skeletal remains. The Cox Mound in Tennessee was excavated in 1934 and was found to have been built in construction by a series of structures built on top of each other, forming an 8-foot mound. The mound contained 49 burials and a neatly square building made of upright red cedar posts with a sod roof. The building collapsed and was rebuilt twice, but some of the original cedar posts remained and were incorporated into later structures. The building contained limestone, sandstone blocks, as well as 200 irregular rocks. Although the other mounds contained standing stones, it's interesting that the features caught Harris's attention in the photo were not actually standing stones, but were instead the remnants of unearthed cedar posts. A thorough investigation of the artifacts discovered in the excavation revealed that they were fairly typical of Native American objects found in the Mississippian settlements. They were active from the time period of the 1200s to the modern era. As of now, all the sites that were excavated by the TVA have been submerged for over 80 years, adding more fire to the conspiratorial flames. And just so you know, this isn't the only place in America that Egyptian artifacts were supposedly found. If you want more information, Google Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon. And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.